I kept on getting yelled at. My CFO, my CRO, people in the business coming and saying, this data is wrong, go fix it. We're here at the Databricks conference and we're kicking off this interview series. It's amazing to have our customers, our partners come here and have really meaningful conversations with us.
I want to kind of start with a question that some people may not know. So tell me about why you started Qualytics, because you have a background in data. So what was bugging you and driving you crazy?
That takes me back. So let's see. I was a chief technology officer. I was a chief data officer for a long time, right? Been on the practitioner side, and I had some aha moments, and those aha moments all built up to this big aha moment, let's call it, right? So for me, it started with, we have to have an AI strategy. We have to use machine learning. This was before AI was mainstream. There were still AI and ML use cases. Mm-hmm. And in my previous companies, in all of them, I have done a lot of derivative uses of data. But I kept on getting yelled at. My CFO, my CRO, people in the business coming and saying, this data is wrong, go fix it. So what do? As the person that is the chief data officer, I'm responsible for the data ecosystem. I end up chasing my tail and going and writing code that would catch those specific issues. In the last stop meaning the last company I had co-founded, we were managing thousands of data quality rules. And I realized this is just it's an unscalable approach to what should be a scalable problem. And this data quality problem is a really big problem. Why is it a big problem? We have a lot of data. That's number one. We park this data, we do all sorts of transformations on it so that we can use it for our reporting purposes, use it for our machine learning purposes. So I saw that data quality is a business problem that is trapped in technical tools. And I wanted to change the script. So I saw that when I say I should say we, because my co-founder Eric and I, have both come to that same conclusion from different angles, that number one, data quality is a reactive problem. We wait for things to break before we prioritize and do something about it. And we wait for the next thing to break. It's constant firefighting. I like to call that expensive whack-a-mole. So I got tired of doing expensive whack-a-mole, which means I wanted to get proactive about data quality. And this is the start of the journey of Qualytics, right? Where Eric and I were both building similar things at different companies, where I want to use AI ML methodologies to generate and maintain data quality rules for me. That's a start, but that's not the end. The way you get to the next level of maturity is when you enable the business to come in and co-own their data quality. As a great person I know named Nicole says, data quality is a team sport.
It is.
It's not one person or one team, it's multiple teams. It's a whole team that is working on it, right? So saw that opportunity for how do we enable business users to come in and do the work, review the anomalies, define their business logic, define their rules. And then it got to the next level of complexity, which is, now that I found something, what the hell do I do with it? Just letting somebody know is not enough. I need to be able to drive downstream workflows. I need to initiate things. Seeing those as a requirement, I actually went and bought from competition. I bought from our now competition, and I just saw that they're missing the boat. They're targeting the wrong persona, and that's how Qualytics was born.
I love hearing that story. Do you have a good example of how business users have been using it and how they've been engaging with the platform and taking some of that burden off of the technical team?
Yeah, there's a really good example, actually. One of our customers, Mafre USA, insurance company, who have a data governance function. This data governance function is centralized, and there are certain things that they handle, of course. But the ultimate goal was they have underwriting rules. Yeah. Underwriting rules are business logic. I need to put that business logic somewhere. But it's a vicious cycle of underwriters have to write documents, communicate those documents over to the centralized data governance team. That data governance team has to take it, understand it, implement it, test it, validate it, go back, forth, back and forth, back and forth. So what they did is actually, after adopting Qualytics in the first place, they elevated access for their underwriters to come in and define their own rules. That's success, right? So in Mapfre, having underwriters who are not technical people at all coming in and saying, this is an entity resolution problem, or this is a reconciliation that we need to do. That's how data governance becomes, data quality and data governance become successful. They have actual real business impact. It is a great success story.
That is. How do you see the role of the business user changing with natural language processing and what they can do there?
Business users may not know how to code, but they know how to use an LLM. They know how to define business logic in natural conversations. So taking that and translating that to rules that apply to your data, taking a regulatory document that is 173 pages long and then putting your flavor on it, on what you want it to do, and applying that should be an hour, right? But the business user needs to be able to do that, not just the data governance people. Well, our job is to give them the superpowers to come and do their jobs not only better, but participate at the right time, so that your data governance is not somebody's job, it's everybody's job. It's a board level mandate that our data quality, data governance, data trust has to be in play. It's the corporate culture, corporate mindset that I own my data and I own the quality of my data.
Recently, Qualytics rolled out some new messaging and some new features. We talk about the data control layer. We are leaning into a lot more of the context narrative as well. Can you talk about that and why we made that shift?
First of all, the world has changed drastically in the last 3 years. Yeah. AI became something that was scary to something that is commonplace. Today's world, we can actually talk about AI freely. What changed is that enterprises have a lot more budgets than they did for data governance. AI governance and data governance are very similar things. Your AI is only as good as the data that it is trained on, because models are commodities, right? So you're taking AI, think about AI as a glorified calculator. For this glorified calculator to work well, I need to feed it good data. Because if I feed it bad data, it's going to say, oh, I was trained on, one of our customers has this example. She says, if I train AI on pictures of dogs with 3 legs, AI is going to tell me dogs should have 3 legs, right? Because it doesn't have the common sense. Well, sometimes it has common sense because it's trained on large amounts of data, large language models, right? But at the same time, if you look at within an enterprise, you have to give it context. Trusting that context is the next level. Let's talk through an example, right? In the past, I'm building a board level dashboard. And let's say that I'm looking at CAC to LTV ratio, right? Customer acquisition cost over long-term value. And I have a certain definition of it, and I have somebody or a team responsible of implementing it. When new data comes in, before the board dashboard goes out, somebody is manually checking everything and ensuring that that is falling within the standards, and then now saying, okay. In today's world, you may have a CFO that goes around the whole thing and starts having a conversation with your data. He may be asking for, or she may be asking for, previously unknown insights. Let's add this data point too. What does that look like? Let's look at CAC to LTV ratio in this specific zip code for customers that have X, Y, and Z. That's the power of AI, right? Well, if I'm coming up with previous unknown insights and that data has never been looked at before, oh no, I'm gonna make some bad decisions, right? And my training data has to be governed. That governance cannot happen without humans. That's why we are augmented, not autonomous. It's very, very important for us to make the differentiation between the two. We're not replacing humans. We're giving humans superpowers that they can come in and own their data quality end to end with automation in the mix, with AI inferred rules in the mix, AI generated, AI maintained rules, so that I don't have to worry about 95% of the work. I can focus on the 5% that is high impact business logic that can never be automated.
And talk about probably why that's so important for a lot of our clients, because we're working with a lot of large financial institutions, insurance companies, that are heavily regulated, healthcare organizations.
Yeah.
And so just making something completely autonomous is not going to work in these organizations.
Correct. So there have been certain angles in the market that people are taking towards this data quality problem. The traditional one was technical data quality. You come in and you write rules. You write logic, you write code, right? If this, then this, and then do this, or these are the parameters. That was 20 years ago, right? Everything is agentic now, right? And there are certain players that take a more model-based approach, which is that the model says this is an anomaly. The model says this data is wrong. If I'm a regulated bank and I have to be able to defend that to the regulator, and I have to say exactly what failed when and how, I have to have auditability, explainability all built in, end to end. Well, if you're not running rules and you're running a model, that's not gonna work, right? It's not really auditable or explainable because the explainability is out the window. So that's a very important thing, right? Regulators especially like to see specifically, this is the rule that was violated at this time, by this data point. This rule was originally AI generated versus person generated, and then it was edited with this. That's explainability. That's auditability of that specific anomaly. For healthcare, for example, it's very common sense logic that a patient should not be older than 130 years old. They shouldn't be born in the year 1700, right? Those are rules. You still need the rules. We see a lot of success with large enterprise, financial services, insurance, supply chain, manufacturing, where you see mismatches between systems that have hundreds of millions of dollars in impact that is not a model telling you that they're a mismatch. You're actually doing reconciliation between a source and a target system. That is a very well-known DQ problem. Or I'm doing entity resolution where I have customers that are Jonathan Smith and John Smith and John without the H Smith, but they're actually the same person, and I have to resolve them to the real world entity that they're in. That's not a model doing that anomaly detection. It is a specific rule. That's how data quality works.
We've heard you say a lot lately, you're talking about validated use. Talk about why that's critical now more than ever.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, okay, every enterprise these days is deploying an LLM or has deployed an LLM. Some of them are using agents in production. Some of them are planning on using agents in production, right? What's telling it what's good versus not? Well, there are multiple ways that you can go about that. Number one is trusted context, right? Making sure that all of the context that I have, all the data quality signals, they're all there, so that when I say, hey, I'm looking at this customer acquisition cost metric, my AI agent or my LLM, everything has the same signals exposed to it. What that means is, well, we had 5 anomalies on this customer acquisition cost metric in the last month. Here is what they were, and here's the resolution. Then I need to be able to say, this is validated versus not. So I need to be able to run data quality checks, or I like to call them as data controls, at the point of use. That's validated use. When you think about the concepts of data quality, there is this 110-100 rule of data quality that it's incredible to me that it is still relevant today. This is from a 1992 paper. Let's say that we have a sales assistant and she's putting in data into Salesforce, and she's putting in 10, 15, 20 as the lead cost every day for these data points. And she fat fingers and puts 100. If she catches herself and she corrects it at Salesforce while she's doing it, it costs the company $1 to address that issue. If she doesn't catch herself and it gets caught at a later time when that data has already percolated into other locations, it costs the company $10. And this whole concept of 1-100 is that if it's not caught and I'm making a bad decision off of that bad data point, then it's 100. Okay, now I'm training an AI model that includes bad data point. It's probably $10,000 in that scale. If I'm going into a co-pilot that is exposing signals that is trained off of bad data, that's probably million. And now I have autonomous agents that are actually coming in, interacting with my data points, presenting those data points, taking decisions. That may be millions in impact. What can I do to ensure that I am not only as humans making bad decisions, but as autonomous systems not making bad decisions, not presenting bad data? The answer is trusted context. Start with that trusted context, but expose the controls to every single derivative use of data that actually comes in and uses that data.
So you're talking to lots of CDOs every single day. You're at all these events. Are you seeing this become data quality become a mandate now with everything that's going on with AI, and that also being a mandate in these organizations as well?
I would say we have seen an order of magnitude increase in the market for interest in data quality and data governance. I think we're going to stop calling it data quality. I think it's going to be just one of those things that, like, it's my data management suite, which may have a little bit of MDM, a little bit of data quality, a little bit of data cataloging, a little bit of context, right? I mean, that's all those things eventually are going to morph into one thing, right? The best of breed is going to become best integrated. That's my market prediction for you. We shall see how that plays out. At this point, we have best of breed, and in the best of breed solutions, there is quite a bit of interest in the market. The buyer is being more educated. The buyer is getting more interested in ensuring that they are making the right investments, because I'm making a big investment into Databricks. I'm making a big investment into Snowflake. These are millions of dollars that I'm spending. I'm hiring people. Am I arming them with the right tooling? That's the kind of questions that people have. There are no best practices yet for a CDO's role. It's evolving. As the CDO role evolves, that CDO has to have data security and privacy, data's availability and explainability, and that data's governance and quality all sorted out. That's like the first 90 days of a CDO's role, is to come in and actually define those. What does the North Star look like? Where are we headed? They're the captain of the ship.